Eastern Standard Time. Let's have a community chat on Vincy Mas.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. So we are back. And on this segment of the program, we're going to invite uh, Scorpion and Javed Rouse. And as I said, Dr. Steve Scott, he's not here. But of course, the resource is still here. And we're going to discuss Ragga and Power Soca. And Scorpion, you spoke to us just now, but it's now your time to fully introduce
Mhm.
yourself and to
Right,
say to us how important is Vincy Mas to you, you know?
right. So, for the listeners who don't know who I am, my name is Scorpion. They call me this Tingerman. The king of Ragga Soca in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and you know what I mean. And we could extend as we say the world, And I'm happy to be a part of the program. And Ragga Soca for me is very important, and more so for St. Vincent and the Grenadines because we play a very important role in that particular genre of music. And it goes back to Beckett, Touch, Winston Soso. And, if you compare that type of music, and of course I cannot say it without mentioning, Dr. Frankie McIntosh because, he played a very pivotal role in creating that song, you know what I'm saying? And, it is very important for St. Vincent and Grenadines to know how special we are with that particular genre of music, you know what I'm saying? Because when you listen to the other songs around the Caribbean and around the world, we have a unique song. The sweetness of it, the danceability, the longevity of it, it is very unique and special. So, me growing up listening to Calypso and soca music in the holidays, getting the opportunity to go to Carnival and also to participate in Carnival. I will watch, but I will listen more, you know what I'm saying? And the music was the one thing that captivates me and brought and got my attention in terms of loving music. And Beckett was one of the persons who I emulated in terms of listening to the style and his lyrics, and of course the musical arrangement was first and foremost, the first thing that actually caught my attention. And I know that he was working with a veteran and somebody who knows music, you know what I'm saying, to create that particular song. And I think I paid so much attention to that is why I particularly choose this type of style, the Ragga Soca, because of course it fits my vocal style, and it's also, it is that music that could actually live, as I said, for a long time. And so Ragga Soca for me is very important, and I will continue to, do my best to create, to recreate the song so that it will, have a vibe with the younger generation, so to speak, and also maintain the sound, or I should say the template that represents St. Vincent and the Grenadines in the best way I can, So it is a genre, in my opinion, that can bring fortune to yourself and to St. Vincent and the Grenadines in terms of the attention, because it fits within, that particular slot, wall music, so to speak, you know what I'm saying? And it is very marketable once, you have the right song and lyrics and just the right vibe, so it fits within the normal range of tempo worldwide, whether it be rock, R&B, reggae, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying? It fits right in that slot. Not too fast, it's just right, you know what I'm saying? So that is why I think, we have something special, and, we need to market it the best way we can, and also encourage the youths to participate in it. And, and we have seen, success stories like Kevin Little, for example, Zola, I just mentioned a few names, James P, and the list goes on and on, within that particular range of music. And I think that, once we understand how special it is, then the promoters, radio stations will play their role too, because we need them as well to understand, what we are pushing and who we are as a people. It is not necessarily just about the dollar, because this is something that I've learned long ago, is that once you maintain integrity, it is more expensive than having $1 million, you know what I'm saying? So integrity in everything is key, for sustainability and also to help nurture humanity in itself, you know what I mean? And you have to balance it. Yes, we need money and we need all these things, but just think about it. A dying man on his bed does not need money, he needs prayers, you know what I'm saying? And so sometimes in life, we get caught up in the moment and forget what is important, you know what I'm saying? So I try to balance the importance of a lot of things, because, once I'm living a good life, I really don't focus on having, the unnecessary things, you know what I'm saying? So for me, the necessary thing is so that it is the tradition, the continuation of it. That is richness, you know what I mean? So we need to have that in place where the next generation follows up and embrace and, interpret it in their manner, but still, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, you understand?
It's a very interesting point that you made in terms of the next generation, because the next generation is also sitting on this panel with you.
Excellent.
And we have our president, Ragga Soca Monarch, JR the artist.
Yes.
You there?
Yeah, checking in. Everybody could hear me.
All right. So JR, you're in good company. You're with former Ragga Soca Monarch Scorpion, who's taking the lead, and you're now the new generation, so to speak.
And that's the irony about it, right? Because it keeps going on. Right?
Welcome, man. Definitely.
Thanks. Scorpion, big up yourself. Me and Scorpion, I could call him a big brother safely. I can't say Scorpion is one of the few within the industry who would nurture younger folks. I can safely say that, right? Scorpion would know why I would say that. It's because he has proven such, right? But moving on, what Ragga Soca means to me, and in fact, what Carnival means to me, right? It's a cocktail of culture. It's a way that we articulate and express ourselves at a particular time or particular season during the year, which we know what you deem to be Vincy Mas, right? Ragga Soca, the role of Ragga Soca in Vincy Mas, I would deem it to be very, very, very important. I was listening on earlier and heard folks talk about extending the barriers. Karen Vera would have mentioned, taking the product and advertising it in a way that it appeals to international market. And I really do feel that Ragga Soca is the way forward with that, right? The thing is with culture, right? There's something that we call a culture shock, right? So just because Peter, I talk English and you talk English doesn't mean that you're gonna understand everything that I say or that every poem that I write, right? Because there's some certain jargons that may cause a barrier to communication, right? And not that I'm bashing the power soca, because the power soca also is important to identify a culture. But then you might not understand me when I say mash up the place and call it George, right? Thinking about somebody who's in Ireland, or somebody who lives in Canada, right? Somebody came to the Calypso tent that we're gonna form in Canada, and then he Scorpion say, yeah, cock up your foot and push it back, right? They might be dumbfounded as to what. But then, in Ragga Soca now, we put it in a nice way, we say, oh my God, baby, wind up. Yeah, you can understand. So right there, to me, it's like a universal way of communicating through music, right? And that's something unique that we have here in St. Vincent, and we call it Ragga Soca. So I think that the right approach, music-wise, to gaining international recognition and marketing for the carnival would be through Ragga Soca, right? And that's a very own. What it means to me, it means that, a time of unity, a time of coming together where friends and family come together, communities come together and celebrate, whether they celebrate life, celebrate being stress-free, celebrate a new job, anything that you have to celebrate really and truly. That is what the entire carnival symbolizes to me, a time to just release therapy, in a sense, right? And both the Monday and the Tuesdays is really important as well, because the entire thing, the entire season, that's really our product. That's what we have to offer the world. And we have to take charge on how we market, how we merchandise it, and how we make it appealing to the outside world, so that they would then see that and say, hey, my next vacation, I should be in, St. Vincent for Vincy Mas, and boost the economy and build ourselves up as a nation. Vincy Mas, which, hand in hand contributes to the economy.
Thank you very much, Jay. I mean, you would have heard the discussions that was unfolding before. I think in a lot of it, you're seeing that artists being encouraged to take personal responsibility for moving themselves forward, if you want to put it that way. So I'm going, as you hear, I'm gonna ask you how do you deal with that, and then I'm going to go back to Scorpion and ask him that same question. But for now, how have you as a young person felt coming into the business of Ragga Soca in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and what obstacles, maybe what challenges were you facing as you pushed forward?
All right. So as I said, locally, right? So I think the issue with Ragga Soca locally is that the power soca, it's a bit more dominant vibe in the country, right? What I'm trying to say is that the power soca, because it's predominantly rudeness or slackness in a sense, the younger generation now, because there's culture shock, as I mentioned, and culture is dynamic. So the things that used to be cool to the older generation would no longer be cool to the newer generation, right? It's been proven over and over that the younger generation now, they like slackness, right? So it's a sad reality, and we have to hold firm, as we mentioned before, to make it cool again, right? So the way forward, I think, with the Ragga Soca is to find a way to make it cool again, make it appealing again to the younger generation. I don't think that we need to include slackness, right? Because you wanna make it friendly, listener friendly, so everybody can enjoy the music, everybody can enjoy the vibe. But I think the way forward is to make it, change, whether it's changing the bass line, changing the rhythmic patterns. I think the way forward with it is to make it cool and appealing to the younger generation.
All right, well said, Javed. Scorpion, you've heard what we would consider to be someone from representing the younger generation. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, what was said there by Gerard, the artist, and from your own perspective?
Well, I mean, yes, there are there are some issues when it relates to the balancing of the particular genres. You know what I'm saying? Like Ragga Soca, for instance. I remember the days when it was dominant, and then of course, we entered a new era, where we call it power soca, which is the fast-paced music, and it is easier for the DJs to actually get their hands on the music or play it firsthand because of the hype and the excitement it brings. Now, both genres, I will try my best not to speak against the power soca, because all comes from Calypso, you know what I'm saying? And all plays a role in the festival and of course in the industry. But for me, I think the energy that I'm pushing is the balancing of it, you know what I'm saying? Especially on the airwaves and also in the parties and the promoters, and you know what I'm saying? And also the artists, meaning we need to see more young Ragga Soca singers, and I think this year we have seen a consistently amount of new artists emerging. For example, out of Mason's camp. I'm just saying Mason's camp because I don't know all of the names. Like the guy Kenny had a beautiful song, "Come On My Baby," and of course JR. And congratulations to him. It shows that the youngsters are actually listening and they want to continue the the legacy of Ragga Soca and St. Vincent and Grenadines. So I think we are heading in the right direction. As I said, it's just the balancing of it on the airways will be very important for the genre of music as well. You know what I'm saying? And for many and years to come, we're gonna have this discussion again where maybe Ragga Soca is taking over and we're not hearing Power Soca. Just like how we for many years past, we were complaining about female singers, and we were seeing, the upsurge of female singers. You know what I'm saying? I was happy to, to be, like helping as it relates to the Calypso art form. Sheena Collis, we've seen Empress Nubian, we see Chanel Mackenzie who could continue to be a star in that particular vibes. We have Fire Empress, of course. So there's so many female artists in the industry. So I'm just saying, sometimes in the year we may find, or every 10 years we find a situation where we complain about one thing and then we get it and then we complain about the next. But but for me, I think the balancing of the artists in terms of Ragga Soca singers is there with the amount of persons who are singing Power Soca. So I think we are actually moving in the right direction when it comes to that. Yeah.
And in terms of what we may say, star quality, you have, for example, like a Skinny Fabulous, yourself, a Fireman Hooper, you have those persons really seemingly like they have become, in a sense, the face of the carnival, if you want to put it that way, in one sense or the other. This sort of attractive star quality, or maybe a quality of where it's about the money and that kind of thing. So it's somewhat exciting. Jay made an interesting statement just now when he spoke about, the slackness or whatever you may call it. How do you look at that?
All right. Well, I mean, it's subjective, I mean, Jay, he probably knows what he's talking about. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I think the art form, again, you have to understand the art form to know where we are going and to understand where it came from. You know what I mean? For example, the adults, if an artist is not saying, anything raw as it relates to English terms, like raw meaning disrespectful, but he has an undertone meaning or double undertone of a music. That's what the industry, that's what the art form is, the creativity of it, But the adults are the ones who actually are able to think about something else. Like, for example, Hammond Comes. I did not write that song with trying to be rude or anything. It was actually me watching API and seeing the actual extraction of the congs. And the song, because of me being around Calypso and the creativity, I just think that it was funny to put it together and make it what it is, the congs and hammer, what I'm saying? Hammer and congs, And the kids sing that song because they are innocent to the fact. So it is very important that education, which is, as I said, for people to understand the genre, just like Calypso, when the Calypsonian is speaking about a political issue, he find a way to not call the politician name, but say something else. Like, for example, Bear Nancy in the days, what I'm saying, with Prime Minister Mitchell, what I'm saying. And, people, the adults figure out, probably who they're talking about because he was smart and he is tricky or whatever it is. And that's the beauty about the art form. So we have to be very mindful of the creative aspect of the industry and also understand what is the industry. I mean, the art form. What is the art form? The art form is this, and we shouldn't bash it unless we understand it, I mean? So I think all of that particular style and understanding is very important for us to know who we are as a people and know what the genre is about. So we could have it in Ragga Soca, the double entendre, we could have it in Power Soca the same way, and also in Calypso. So it is as I said, once you're not saying anything that is, as I say, in terms of the English term, that is rude and disrespectful, you're actually doing it, you know, in the creative aspect of Calypso. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we gotta be careful how we say it and how we balance it. You know what I mean? So yeah. I think we could fix it if someone is out of line by, you know, reaching out to them as a veteran or as a elder and say, well, hey, you know, it was a very you went overboard with this particular line or concept. You know, you need to tone it down in a way that it is not disrespectful in terms of, you know, the listeners, you know what I mean, the youths and the elders. So yeah. We just have to educate.
I also want to ask an interesting question. It probably is interesting. Do you think it is possible to have a politically, let's say, as how the Calypso would express themselves, you know, using political commentary? You think you could have a politically based power soca?
Oh yeah. Yeah, man. Anything, man. You could, yeah, anything.
I think that happened before though.
Yeah. Anything, yeah, man.
I think that happened before with Skinny Fabulous when he did the ULP song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was Power Soca. Scorpion made some really important points. And I must pick out as well, you know, the balance of the music, the balance of the playing of the ragga and the power, because if we don't appreciate the ragga, you know, something, you know, you have a talent and you don't use it, then eventually you lose it, right? So I really take into consideration the balance, and, you know, you gotta call upon the radio stations, and not just, you know, expect the CDC to push the music, but the radio station to balance the music. Again, I think some of the influence in regards to the slackness, not to really, because I'm not bashing any genre of music, right? Because music is how you express, how you articulate yourself. But I really think some of the influence of the slackness that is in the music for the generation now, right, is the bouillon, right? Or the bouillon would be with the actual rude lyrics or the rude songs. I think a lot of the bouillon concepts are coming into the soca, into the power soca. Right. I admire that song for Skinny and Nyla Blackman, Come Home. I've been trying to come to terms if that's a power soca or if it's a groovy soca, right? Because the BPM is at least 160 BPM. 160 BPM, you know, that's power soca. But then the way that song is sung, it sounds exactly like groovy, right? So I'm wondering if that's a plausible approach as well to the power soca, to the soca that we have here, instead of the bouillon, imitating the bouillon kind of way approach to the soca, right?
Okay, great. It's interesting. I'd also like to get some perspective from some of the persons who participated in the Calypso segment. So persons like Rejector, and the two representatives from the diaspora. I'm going to give them a minute to address what you may consider two of the younger generation persons who, you know, in this segment. And I'm seeing the connection between, let's say, the ragga, the power, and the Calypso. And then I'll also bring in all, because Bennett Kaba, he represents, you know, holistically. So they've been listening to the discussion. So I want to have Rejector probably, you know, take a couple seconds, you know, 50 seconds, and Jim, and also the other Carlos, Enigma, to just say something in response to, you know, what the guys are saying over here on the ragga and power side of things. So Carlos, maybe you can start with you as a veteran. Carlos, check your mic, please. Check your mic, see if it's unmuted. Rejector.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, you...
Yes. So I was just saying that.
Yeah, my mic is unmuted.
Okay, great. Okay. Good. So I was just saying, as you may have heard the discussion coming from Scorpion and JR, the artist, you know, what's your perspective on what was said there, having you representing the foundation, so to speak, and these guys are basically the person who have evolved from Calypso.
Well, I really missed a little bit because I stepped away for a while, but I know what you were speaking about. Yes, in terms of the Ragga Soca, Scorpion said a good bit of it that, the Ragga Soca is still something that represents, Calypso. Let me say, Fireman. I think Fireman is a very good example of the soca and power soca or whatever you want to call it, Ragga Soca. I think he does an excellent job. And in any music, Calypso, any music, one of the things about it is marketing and to write smartly, to grab the audience, and to have something marketable. And I think Fireman and Skinny, and now a number of the other younger artists are doing an excellent job of it. It is lively music. I don't think they were speaking about just now raw lyrics and stuff like that. I really don't see any raw lyrics in the power soca per se. I think the guys are very smart, and I must say that they're doing an excellent job. And it is the future of our music. It is doing a great job, and I continue to support them. I mean, there was some time ago that a number of the soca artists were writing about rum, and that was quite concerning, because you have to be careful when you write and what you write, because the even stronger than the Calypsonas these days, the soca artists are very powerful influencers. They influence a huge cross section, and mainly the younger persons. And these are the persons that you have to be careful what you're telling them, because they do exactly what you tell them. That was quite concerning. That a number of them were writing about rum, and drink rum. And it seemed like they were glorifying rum. It seemed a bit toned down this year. So I'm hoping that that's the trend, that they're going to tone down the rum thing. That was my take on it. But I think so far, the Ragga Soca and the soca artists, they're doing an excellent job.
Thank you very much, Rejector.
Yeah.
All right, so let's hear from the next Carlos. You're listening outside, and what do you think of the Ragga and the power soca comments that were made? That's Enigma. Still there?
Yeah, I'm here. Well, first, it's great to see the youngsters and taking it up and running with it. It's always good as veterans that we are. It's great to see the ones coming up taking the baton and running with it. To just follow up on what Rejector said about them being influencers, and also what JR was mentioning about the content of some of the songs. As Ragga Soca, Power Soca, and even Calypso singers, we need to be cognizant or more aware of the content of what you're putting out there, because Calypso, Ragga Soca, Power Soca, whatever it is, it's a very powerful tool, and it influences people. I mean, you can use Calypso, Power Soca to ignite a crowd. We can see that from Skinny. Get people to pick up everything that's on the ground and throw them everywhere that he wants them. he can totally get them eating out of his hands. So we know how powerful that is. And one last thing, with great power comes great responsibility.
Absolutely well said. Okay, Jim, from your perspective.
I'm going to the learning process at this stage. My time with a call what you call Ragga Soca, one for the road, Power Soca would have been one for the road. With the Calypsonian used to sing 2 songs, and one was for the social commentary and one was for the pan or something along that line. So I'm really learning here a lot. I do agree though that the power that comes with those music, everyone have to remember that once you are writing, singing, doing anything along that line, and somebody is listening you are in turn teaching them. And we ought to be aware of what we are teaching. So when you write your song, you must be aware that you're having an impact on the entire society around you. And you're teaching them, and if what you must be aware what you're teaching them. And I think a lot of artists forget or doesn't realize that they are teachers, and they're teaching those who are coming especially. And we must be mindful what we teach them, because whatever you teach them, you expect it down the road to come back at you. So artists have to be mindful and play the role as teachers and do it well. So don't do the wrong thing, as rejected said. That started to get him worried. It worried me a lot. But again, it tell me where we at a certain time in our development.
Yes.
So artists are must, while they're historians, they're also teachers, and they must be mindful of what they're teaching.
Thank you. All right. So thank you very much. Kaba, you're the administrator for this whole aspect of Vincy Mas.
Thank you once again. I'm quite interested in discussion. Let me start by saying that I'm one of the persons who believes, some people say, I don't want to say no, but some people just question it, that we are the creators, or you want to say inventors, of a Ragga Soca. And when you have a child, you must mind your picnic. Allah touch. We shouldn't treat Ragga Soca as an orphan. Now, the person like me have to be very careful when I speak. I would never advocate for one of the genres or subgenres to hold sway over another at the expense of another. We have some persons who are talented enough to straddle all three subgenres. We don't have to go very far. We have one of our very talented panelists who has done so and done so competently and effectively. He has not just done it. There are persons who may sing Calypso, sing Ragga Soca, and sing Soca, but they just sing. They haven't made an impact. But Scorpion, without a doubt, has made an impact and continues to make an impact. He's one of the most prolific writers that has come out of St. Grenadine, the ball of St. Grenadine. As he said, he wrote the second place Calypso this year for Sheena. And he has written many others. But the point I want to make, and two of you have touched it, and Jeha, in a way, brought it up, is what we call responsibility. To whom much is given, you expect much. Responsibility, and I'm going to give an example, because Rejecter alluded to the rum song. But even more troubling and consoling at times are the songs that influence persons to mash up things. While you could sing this song and it's on the airwave, that's okay. Or when you go in an environment, when persons are inebriated, or in other words, persons are intoxicated or drunk, and you give instructions, we have seen the result. I have seen persons' homes during carnivals, rural carnivals, being vandalized, where persons on the plane and say, pull up everything, and the person run into people home, pull up the man, pull up the banana tree, do this, do that. I'm seeing this. You have a responsibility. I've seen it in fets as well, where they take off anything, people take off the whatever. So I am saying to persons, you have a license to sing, but you also have parameters. Just because you can't go defame somebody, you should be able to understand that you can't sing song that could actually incite violence. It may not start that way, but by doing certain things, it could end up that way. Because I have seen persons, I see in my own eyes, a proprietor, a homeowner, ran out of his house with a cutlass because somebody ran into his home and pulled out his mango, his banana tree, and then I speak in vernacular now. Because that's one thing we do today, speak we vernacular, we first language, we and so on. So we have to understand our responsibility. And we also have to understand that Ragga Soca, as again I'm saying, I am not saying to give another genre or subgenre to hold sway over another at the expense of another. Let all of them thrive in the marketplace. We are all, brothers and sisters. That's what Calypso, Ragga, and Soca are. And we should not be seen, even though we do as human beings, it's our nature sometimes to be divisive. I don't preach divisiveness. I preach unity. So, and I just want to say something. Maybe it has not Because when J.R. said what he said, apparently some people did not hear, but there's definitely a song I have heard coming out of Dominica with the Beyond beat that is very explicit and very rare. I don't know if that is with the radio station. Very rare. There is no double meaning, there's no double entente. Straightforward. I can't repeat it on this medium, on this forum. It would be irresponsible of me to do such. But it has something with put something in mouth, has something, has stick something in mouth, something like that. Can I, okay? So, but what I want to hear though is congratulate all the artists who are at the forefront and the vanguard of promoting Calypso. Calypso. That is Calypso, Ragga Soca, and Soca. Do what you do. Also, if you have the opportunity, be a mentor to those under you. Jihar has just indicated that Scorpion has done that with him. And I don't want to sound like if I am stuck into Scorpion. But it's important to sing truth to power. He's not the only one who has helped other persons, but he's here right in front of us. And I know, and not only is he a singer, a writer, Scorpion also contributes by going around speaking to persons, and he has judged on many occasions. Jim, I want to encourage you to do your do. You seem very, you are very, not seem, you are very passionate, and I look forward to you being there with the go-getter Suzette and Egnema. You hear the name he has? Egnema. Very hard to understand. Carlos Egnema. And we have some, those Carloses have some interest in Sabic, you know. One name rejector, one name Egnema. And here we had the man who's singing them Scorpion.
All right. All right. Well put together there, Kaba. So I'll go back to JR, and JR, I'm going to get you to summarize now on the way forward. Take 30 seconds, a minute, thereabout most. Summarize on the way forward, and then I'll take it back to Scorpion, who will end this segment.
All right. So again, good night, everybody. In regards of Ragga Soca, the music itself, I think the way forward as artists that, you know, when we do the writing, we account for some responsibility, remembering that with great power comes great responsibility. We keep it authentic. We keep the authentic Ragga Soca beat, because, you know, it's our baby, it's our child, so we have to nurture it, we have to develop it, we have to take it to a state and deliver great things, right? Again, I think the way forward with Ragga Soca would be having like a training session, even if it's just amongst artists themselves, where, you know, that we can approach the business side of things and the professional side of things, where you know, we take into consideration everything from being tardy at events, from showing up late, everything, you know, kind of like a guideline, you know, like if it's like a book, how to be the perfect artist. Sorry, I'm muting my mic. I think that we really need something like a training for young artists, and I think that could start with the older generations, kind of giving some guidance or putting together something like a PDF file that we could read or use to the training from, right? So that's just it in my own opinion, but I think that the way forward with Ragga should be.
Thank you very much, Jay, and congratulations. And as you know, we are looking forward to you defending that crown and seeing what comes next year. So to you, Scorpion. All right. To you, Scorpion, you'll round off this segment and take it out.
Yes, so I must say again, thanks, you know, for the SVG Ottawa Association for having me. Also, special thanks to Kaba, you know, the president of the, you know, St. Vincent Calypso Association. I mean, Kaba is a how to put it, you know, he's the watchdog in all of the business, and you know, he sees everything, and you know, he he will give great advice. You know what I'm saying? I call him best dressed. You know, he represents the attire of Calypso. You know, because Calypso again is a art form where artists display the dress code, you know what I'm saying? And that is very important in the industry as well, your presentation. He also mentioned responsibility. Now, there's a balance between a creative person, you know, and Mr. Jim mentioned we are teachers. We are not merely teachers, you know what I'm saying? We are music creators. You know, we create vibes, we are entertainers. So yes, we could balance it, but I don't think we are teachers. We are not teachers, you know what I'm saying? However, we could learn about the industry, learn about a particular topic, learn about, you know, how to arrange music, but we are not teachers, you know what I'm saying? So I say that to say that we must not depend upon artists to give you information for your life, you know what I'm saying? However, there are artists who will take up that mantle, you know? But again, it goes back to what Kaba said, responsibility. So it depends on the person's perception of things, you know what I mean? And also everything is always a balance. So with that being said, you know, the way forward is for us to continue to learn about who we are, which is very important. Once you learn about who we are, who create this, who made this possible, who made breakthroughs, you know what I'm saying? Once you become involved in industry, it is important for you to do your research. Research really kept me, you know, being relevant and my relevance in the industry for many years, you know what I'm saying? Because we have so many youngsters coming and, you know, would have great influence in the music, but to be there in the mix after how much, so many years, you know, and still creating great vibes for the people is because of the research, you know what I mean? And you have to continue, you know, do your research and, you know, just basically trying to reinvent yourself every year when it comes to the music, because, you know, we have so many different new technology as it relates to tones in terms of music, called instruments. We have to, you know, find different ways to rhyme. Your rhyming scheme, you may have a particular rhyming scheme as an artist. You could change that, you know, by yourself or even having other writers. And also you may working with a particular producer who have a particular style. If they are not willing to change certain things, then you could go to other producers as well, you know, to mix it up and have relevancy and, you know, you don't be dormant in the industry. So that's the way forward, in my opinion. You know, you gotta switch it up. If you have a particular bassman, you could go to another bassman who may have a different swing. If you have a particular rhythm guitar, go to a different one who may have a different ring. If you you know, in a particular studio, you could change up and go to different studios. You know, so it's just about you being relevant and mixing it up and having an open mind. You know, so going forward, I think all of us have a very important role to play. You know, the mass men, and I heard Karen mention, you know, they are merely a party band, but also, you know, of course, you know, she would be willing to incorporate the traditional mass, and also the traditional mass should learn from the new mass like Oxygen as well, to incorporate different vibes. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, as I said, we can't really knock each other and say, oh boy, they throw the whole thing, oh, this is we're going on now. We have to find a way to find a balance. And balance is the world, and balance is the universe. You know, so balance everything, you know what I mean?
Thank you very much, Scorpion. Much appreciated. All
Thank
right. I don't know if there's any question in the audience. Suzette, syndicate, if there's any question in the audience to round off this segment. If not, we can move forward.
The chat room, I haven't seen any. I'm not so sure from Vin if you have. From the Facebook group, there is there's not much, but if I may permit myself, I can maybe ask a question, because when we think about, we hear about responsibility, we hear about vulgarness. It's a different era. I know for me, in the era in which we come up, it's a different generation. When we look back from how we know how music started, as like in my opening statement, we said it evolved. If I speak to somebody like me, I always see myself, if I'm gonna take music in, I'm gonna go, it's something that stays in my head. But when we think about Ragga Soca and power soca music and however that where we want to put it, when you think of international, for me, in my opinion, I think it's always, and I think Jera and Scorpion hinted at it, is one of the best thing to really portray our music in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And not really a question I'm asking, but in everything that we do, what we sought to do is to push that love and to push our indigenous music as well as the power soca piece. And here in the diaspora again, that's what we do is continue all of that to push all of that music. With that being said, I don't know if anybody have any question, but in case of this, is the love of our music, is the love of our culture. We are trying our best here in the diaspora to put forth everything that St. Vincent and the Grenadines has to offer. For that, I don't know if anybody here has any question. Vin, Bay Hill News Network. No, I think they love the conversation. They keep going. They don't want to disturb to have any ask any question, which is good. I mean, you guys are actually whatever you're saying, you sort of feed into what they wanted to ask. But Gary, I turn that back over to you.
All right, thank you, Suzette. So what we'll have a little intermission. We'll run some ads and then we'll come back with a brief dialogue on private events versus the CDC shows, and that will bring the hours down to discussion. So we'll run some ads for the moment and see you in a bit. Hi, we're the Ultimate 5 Jazz Band, and we are an easy listening conservative musical provider. We cater for cocktails, receptions, birthday parties, or any private event that you may wish to acquire musical services. Please contact us, the Ultimate 5 Jazz Band.
You are listening to Fun City Radio. Fun City Radio and FunCityRadio.com.
My uncle now end up in the hospital. Me and they scheduled to put out the other.
I've got time if you've got time. Success Radio.
The SVG Association of Ottawa, in collaboration with Team Bay Hill News Network, the Ultimate 5 Band, invite you to a Community Pulse Forum. Topic, the Transitioning of Vincy Mas, a dialogue on the challenges, opportunities, way forward, plus a question and answer period. Sunday, 27th August, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. There will be a very talented panel. Host Gary Peters of the Ultimate 5 Band. Live streaming on Bay Hill News Network, Kankadi Radio, Success Radio, Fun City Radio, YouTube Bay Hill News Network. Join